Welcome to the Physical Literacy in the Early Years, also known as PLEY, webinar series. We are offering this 6-part series to enhance your knowledge of outdoor play and learning as you participate in the PLEY School project. The 6 topics are the original PLEY project, what is physical literacy, fundamental movement skills, active outdoor play, loose parts play, and risky play. The topic of the webinar that I'm sharing right now is on loose parts play, and my name is Caitlin. I will be taking you through this short webinar. So some of the photos in this presentation are from the video you saw in webinar 1 about the pop-up playground that we had, or taken from the original PLEY project. So what are loose parts? Loose parts are open-ended materials that encourage unscripted play. They can be moved, carried, combined, lined up, redesigned, taken apart, and put back together. They can be used with or without other materials, providing children with the opportunity to experiment and to invent. Loose parts can be man-made or natural materials. They have no set purpose other than what is assigned by the child, providing an opportunity to experiment and invent through play. So here's a nice video on loose parts that I wanted to share with you. On the video, loose parts can be from the natural environment or they can be synthetic. Examples of natural loose parts are things like sand, water, stumps, leaves, pine cones. Examples of synthetic loose parts are things like buckets, balls, tires, pots, and pans. As you can see, these are materials that are often found in the natural environment or found as common household items. Some research has been done on the difference between fixed climbers and movable, child-made climbers. Environments that are neat and static do not allow children to imagine, build, create, or think of possibilities. When children are new to the environment, they flock to it. For example, when a new fixed climber is added to a play space, children absolutely love it. They gravitate towards it and navigate this new play structure. As time goes by, children have explored it every way they can think of, and there's nothing more to do on it. Children become bored and no longer choose the climber to play on. For example, if the climber is installed in September, by January, there are only a few children that find it challenging. But when you have a space that is built by children, such as in the photo below, they can continually move and manipulate the materials to find new and exciting ways to challenge themselves and have fun. Children have endless ways to learn when they can manipulate their environment, which is so critical to children's development. Loose parts allow for this type of learning and play. Unchanging play spaces do little for children, whereas environments which can be manipulated, where things can move and be moved, open worlds of possibility. This research was conducted by Outdoor Play and Learning, an organization in the UK. So loose parts play has many benefits for children. The PLEY Project, which was conducted a few years ago, found that loose parts enable children to take risks. Loose parts spark creativity and imagination. Loose parts contribute to problem-solving abilities. Loose parts cultivate independence and confidence, and loose parts foster relationship building. And these benefits are only to name a few. Loose parts offer children endless possibilities to learn and grow. Along with the benefits, there are also some risks and challenges associated with loose parts play. So risks include choking with small items, slippery surfaces, and movable materials, which can result in unstable structures, inconsistent fall zones, and throwing or dropping materials. Challenges can include apprehension of loose parts. So educators, staff, families may be hesitant to allow their children to engage with loose parts. Not loose parts as a novelty. So these are new materials. Many people might be asking, what are these and why would children want to play with these materials? There may be the idea that children will lose interest after a week of playing with them. Sustainability. Loose parts, like anything else, must be taken care of. They will wear after time, but we must do our best to take care of them to prolong their lifetime. As you saw earlier, many of the items can be found naturally in the environment or commonly in the household or workplace. If you notice that the loose parts are starting to wither, many of them can be easily replaced at a low cost. And then challenges with storage. Since we want to prolong the life of the loose parts, we need to make sure we are storing them properly. Set a place aside that is dedicated to the loose parts that the children are familiar with. They will know to put the materials back where they got them from. And in the last webinar, you'll be looking at risky play in general, but there are some risks attached to adding loose parts to outdoor environments. So here are some ways that we can overcome the challenges. We can intentionally introduce the loose parts. This means not keeping any secrets. We tell the kids, we tell the families exactly what the purpose of the loose parts are. We can introduce a select variety of materials over time. So we can introduce them in an exciting manner and be a positive role model for how the children play with loose parts and show an excitement towards them. If we introduce a select variety of materials over time, this may help with the novelty of the materials wearing off. If you continually introduce new materials, there's always something new and exciting in the children's play environment. We can role model and teach the children the value of loose parts. So they must be treated with respect and care. This will help with the sustainability of the loose parts. And storage and sustainability. Loose parts must be organized into a usable system, intentionally introduced and tidied up at the end of play, but only once children are finished playing with them. So here are some examples of storage that you may choose to use at your program. What is the adult's role in outdoor play with loose parts? We provide age-appropriate materials and space for play. We involve children in the development of a set of rules, especially relating to safety, respect, and cleanup. We allow children to lead their own play, resisting the temptation to suggest activities or mediate in disputes. We support the play without influencing or controlling it. We wait for an invitation into their play. Following the children's lead shows the child that we trust and respect their ideas. And we observe closely to gain an understanding of what is happening, not just what the children are physically doing, but what they are thinking and discovering. So here's another great video showing the role of the adult in outdoor loose parts play.
It's a privilege to be able to take the children outside and to really get to know the whole child and to teach the whole child.
Honey, one's like good morning. There's only about two.
When we I take children outside to learn in nature using loose parts, it really allows me to see my students for their whole being, who they are, and it allows me to understand their needs in a very different context than the regular classroom.
Yeah, where are we going? Okay, so we're going with that. Okay, the time comes go here.
I think the idea is to just foster this sense of creativity in the children. So when we're going outside, we use a lot of natural materials. So sticks would be considered loose parts, tree cookies, stumps, planks, scarves.
We can tie that end to there, and then we can do the other end to there. Like that's the TV. This is my house.
Our children today are living this really hurried life, and very rarely do they have time and space to engage in free play that isn't directed by adults.
No.
And I think it kind of leads to maybe more critical thinking, more creativity, more imagination, because you're kind of forcing them. They're in the driver's seat. They're deciding what they're going to do with those parts.
Yeah, I think you need more gas. Get some gas. Gas station. I see one right over there. Pull in there. Wait. We lost the tire. Cooper, go fix the tire. It's in the back.
There's a lot of construction going on. So they like to construct things, like they like to make huts or shelters, or houses are a big thing.
We built these blocks and then big blocks, and that's part of the house.
Loose parts are very affordable. Oftentimes they're found objects or donated objects such as tarps or kitchenware.
We're using different materials, and we're figuring out which to use and how to make the different things. So we're learning that way. That's the best. So, the blanket.
Sometimes in the classroom, you'll have students who are really reluctant to share or even raise their hand. When we go outside and we're using loose parts, it's amazing to see how these reluctant speakers seem to come alive.
And vampires. Hey, you just said vampires and butterflies. And butterflies. I saw an ant spider over here.
No way. What is an ant spider?
They're parts of spider.
It's part ant, part spider.
Oh, where is it now? It's up here.
We see sometimes a whole new side of a child come out when we're outside.
You'll see students counting. You'll see students creating small plays. There are so many ways the curriculum ties into this type of experiential learning. What we are hoping by going outside with our students on our playground is that students will develop a connection to nature that will be lifelong.
In a lot of ways, they're our future. They're the ones who are going to be making decisions about the world that we're going to be living in. And I think it's important that they have a connection to nature, that they care about nature. Sometimes when we go back to using simpler things, when we go back to the basics, there's a deeper impact.
So here are some tips for successfully introducing loose parts into play. Have the children share responsibility for the care and maintenance of the loose parts. Mix your age groups. Loose parts play fosters positive multi-age play experiences. Allow the children to choose which loose parts they would like to play with. Loose parts play can happen in all kinds of weather. Don't let the rain or snow stop you from getting outside and playing with loose parts. And inspect your loose parts regularly for safety hazards. So that wraps up webinar 5 on loose parts play. Thank you for watching.